That's all it took for one man's American dream to shatter into a million pieces. He just closed on his dream home in Seattle. The ink was barely dry on the contract. Then his phone buzzed. Your position has been eliminated. Right now, across Seattle, thousands of families are waking up to the same nightmare. Their six-figure tech jobs, gone. Their mortgages, still very much there. And those million-dollar homes they bought last year, about to flood the market. This isn't just another layoff story. This is the beginning of a real estate earthquake that could reshape one of America's most expensive housing markets. Because when the world's second largest company decides it doesn't need 30,000 of its people anymore, entire neighborhoods don't just feel it, they collapse. So what's really happening in Seattle? And if you own property there, should you be worried? Let's find out. The corporate earthquake, October 28th, 2025, a date that will be remembered in Seattle for years to come. Amazon dropped a bomb. 14,000 corporate employees, gone in an instant. And according to inside sources, this is just the beginning. The real number, closer to 30,000 jobs over the coming months. To put that in perspective, 14,000 people equals every single employee at Netflix. Imagine an entire Fortune 500 company just disappearing from your city's economy overnight. But here's where it gets interesting. These weren't warehouse workers. These were corporate employees. The people earning $150,000, $200,000, sometimes $300,000 a year. The ones living in those beautiful Bellevue homes. The ones with $2 million mortgages. Real estate broker Adriano Torri has been selling homes in the Seattle area for over 20 years. He's seen economic ups and downs before, but even he was caught off guard. We've been fielding calls left and right since very early morning, he told reporters. We haven't seen anything of this magnitude in the last few years. His phone started ringing at dawn. Client after client, all with the same desperate questions. Should I sell my house? Can I still afford my mortgage? Should I rent it out instead? Some of these people had just moved to Seattle for their Amazon jobs. They uprooted their families, bought homes in new neighborhoods, enrolled their kids in new schools, and now everything is in question. But Amazon isn't operating in a vacuum. This is happening across the entire tech industry. Microsoft cut 15,000 jobs this year. Intel, 24,000. Meta, Google, even Target slashed nearly 2,000 corporate positions. And here's the kicker. UPS eliminated a staggering 48,000 jobs, with 14,000 of those in management alone. The message is clear. The corporate tech boom that transformed Seattle into one of the most expensive cities in America, it's reversing, fast. The AI excuse. So why is this happening? Amazon has a simple answer. Artificial intelligence. In an internal memo sent to employees, the company called AI the most transformative technology we've seen since the internet. They believe it will allow them to innovate much faster than ever before, with far fewer people. CEO Andy Jassy has been crystal clear about his vision. He wants Amazon to operate like the world's largest startup. Lean, agile, ruthlessly efficient, and the data backs up his strategy. Of the first 7,500 employees let go, a shocking 78% were managers. Amazon is literally removing entire layers of management, betting that AI can handle the coordination these people used to do. But not everyone is buying this narrative. Some experts argue that AI is just a convenient cover story. The real issue? Money. Specifically, the insane cost of the computer chips needed to power AI. Right now, every major tech company is in an arms race to buy GPU chips from NVIDIA. These aren't your average computer chips. Some cost $30,000 each, and there aren't enough of them to go around. Amazon's cloud computing division, AWS, reportedly has a 25% burning backlog. That means companies are literally begging Amazon for more computing power, willing to pay premium prices, but Amazon can't deliver because they don't have enough chips. So here's the brutal math. Amazon needs to spend billions on AI infrastructure to stay competitive. But to maintain their profit margins while doing so, they need to cut costs somewhere else. And the biggest cost? People. Microsoft did the exact same thing. They cut 15,000 jobs while simultaneously investing $80 billion into AI infrastructure. Whether AI is the cause or just the excuse, the result is the same. Tech companies are shifting their spending from human workers to machines, and Seattle's housing market is about to feel the full force of that shift. The housing domino effect. Bellevue, Washington, just 15 minutes from Amazon's headquarters. For years, this was where newly minted tech millionaires came to plant their flags. Beautiful homes, great schools, easy commute to work. What more could you want? But on October 28th, everything changed. Real estate broker Adam Hestad from Compass. Real estate got a call that morning that perfectly captures what's happening. One of his clients, an Amazon employee, was in the middle of buying a house. They were excited, ready to close the deal. Then the layoff email arrived. The house hunt was immediately called off. There are market effects, right, that we're talking about, Hestad explained. But the thing that I try to remember is it affects individual people along the way. That's the biggest thing. For every statistic, 14,000 jobs, 30,000 jobs, there's a real person behind it. A family trying to figure out how to pay the mortgage. Parents wondering if they need to pull their kids out of private school. People questioning whether they can even stay in Seattle. And the psychological impact goes beyond those who lost their jobs. If you work in tech in Seattle right now, even if you still have your job, you're scared. You're wondering if you're next. And when you're scared, you don't make big financial decisions like buying a house. This creates what economists call a confidence crisis. And it's already showing up in the numbers. Home turnover rates, the number of homes that change hands, have dropped to their lowest level in nearly 30 years across America. People are staying put because they don't feel secure enough to move. And in Seattle, where the tech industry dominates the economy, this effect is even more pronounced. According to broker Adriano Torri, the homes most vulnerable to price drops are those in the $1 million to $2 million range. Why? Because those are exactly the homes that high-income tech workers buy. Think about it. A senior software engineer or manager at Amazon earning $200,000 to $300,000 a year can comfortably afford a $1.5 million home. But take away that job, that house becomes impossible to maintain. Over the next few months, as layoffs continue and severance packages run out, expect to see a flood of these homes hit the market. Sellers will be motivated. They need to sell before their savings run out. And buyers? They'll have all the leverage. Torri predicts that Seattle is shifting toward a buyer's market. These new developments in the job market will make the market, at least for the next few months, more of a buyer's market. But it might not be just a few months. It could be the beginning of a longer-term shift. The ripple effect. When a tech worker loses their job, it doesn't just affect them. It sends shockwaves through the entire local economy. Let's follow the money. A laid-off Amazon employee stops eating out as much. The local restaurant sees fewer customers. The restaurant cuts hours for its waitstaff. Those workers have less money to spend at the grocery store. The grocery store orders less from suppliers, and on it goes. This is already happening in Seattle. Small business owners are reporting fewer customers. Delivery drivers who depend on tech workers ordering food are seeing their income drop. Gas stations along commuter routes are selling less fuel because fewer people are driving to work. But it goes deeper than that. Seattle's economy is unlike most American cities. It's heavily concentrated in one industry, tech. When that industry contracts, there's no safety net. Manufacturing cities like Detroit learned this lesson the hard way. Now it might be Seattle's turn. The entire service economy that grew up around Seattle's tech boom, the coffee shops near Amazon offices, the upscale restaurants in South Lake Union, the boutiques in Bellevue, all of it was built on the assumption that tech money would keep flowing forever. That assumption is now being tested. And there's another factor most people aren't talking about. The gig economy. Seattle has thousands of Uber drivers, DoorDash couriers, and TaskRabbit workers. Many of them depend on tech workers for their income. When tech workers lose their jobs, they stop taking Ubers. They stop ordering delivery. They stop hiring people to help them move or assemble furniture. The economic ripple effect from these layoffs could impact tens of thousands of jobs beyond just those 30,000 direct layoffs at Amazon. The human stories. Behind every number, there's a person, and some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking. Remember that man we mentioned at the beginning? The one who closed on his house and got laid off 45 minutes later? He shared his story on Reddit. He had relocated to Seattle for his Amazon job. The company required him to move. His performance reviews were excellent. He felt secure. So when he found his dream home, he made an offer. The seller accepted. He felt a wave of relief. He had a job, a home, a future. Then less than an hour later, his phone rang. "Your position has been eliminated." "I felt sick to my stomach," he wrote. "I don't know what happens now. I'm just kind of in disbelief." Or consider the woman interviewed by a local news station. She had worked at Amazon for 6 months. She moved to Seattle specifically for this job, leaving her entire support system behind. "I'm the only one out here," she explained. "I was just starting to form a community, but I don't know if I stay in Seattle or if I move to find another job." 6 months. That's all it took for her American dream to evaporate. And she's not alone. Many of those laid off had only recently relocated. They sold homes in other cities, uprooted their families, made sacrifices to join Amazon. Now they're facing a brutal choice: stay in one of America's most expensive cities without a job, or leave and start over somewhere else. But here's the cruel irony. Even if they want to leave, they might not be able to. Remember those homes they bought? In a falling market, they might not be able to sell without taking a huge loss. They could end up trapped, underwater on their mortgages in a city where they no longer have a job. This is the human cost of efficiency. This is what happens when companies prioritize algorithms over people. What comes next? So where does Seattle's housing market go from here? The honest answer? No one knows for certain, but we can make some educated guesses based on history and current trends. First, the optimistic scenario. Some brokers like Adam Hestad believe the market will bounce back. He points out that Amazon had significant layoffs just a couple of years ago, and the market survived. Seattle has proven resilient before. Plus, Amazon is still hiring in some divisions. They're not shutting down, they're reorganizing. And Seattle remains a hub for multiple tech companies, not just Amazon. Microsoft, Google, Meta, they all have significant presences here. If those companies remain stable, Seattle's housing market could weather this storm without a major collapse. But now the pessimistic scenario. What if this is just the beginning? What if Amazon's 30,000 layoffs are followed by more cuts at other companies? What if AI really does eliminate hundreds of thousands of corporate jobs over the next few years? In that scenario, Seattle could be looking at a sustained housing downturn. Prices could fall 20%, 30%, maybe more. The city that became a symbol of tech prosperity could become a cautionary tale about what happens when an entire economy depends on one industry. History offers a warning. Detroit was once America's richest city, built entirely on the auto industry. When that industry collapsed, the city collapsed with it. Could the same thing happen to Seattle? Probably not to that extreme. Seattle's economy is more diverse than Detroit's was, but a significant contraction? That's very possible. The most likely scenario is somewhere in between. Seattle's housing market will probably soften significantly over the next year. Prices in that $1 million to $2 million range will drop, maybe 10% to 15%. Some neighborhoods will be hit harder than others. Areas closest to Amazon and other tech campuses will see the biggest impact. Places like South Lake Union, Bellevue, and Redmond are most vulnerable. These neighborhoods grew specifically to serve tech workers, and they'll contract when those workers leave. But here's what's certain. The days of Seattle's red-hot housing market are over, at least for now. The wild bidding wars, the homes selling for $100,000 over asking price, the feeling that you had to buy immediately or be priced out forever, that's done. For the first time in over a decade, buyers have the upper hand. Closing. The Amazon layoffs of 2025 will be remembered as a turning point, not just for Amazon, not just for Seattle, but for the entire relationship between technology, employment, and the American economy. For years, we were told that tech jobs were the future, stable, well-paid, secure, that if you could just land a position at a major tech company, you'd be set for life. The past few weeks have shattered that illusion. There is no job security anymore, not even in tech. The companies we thought were invincible are cutting tens of thousands of workers without blinking. And the housing markets built on the promise of those stable jobs, They're about to learn a painful lesson about what happens when the foundation cracks. If you're thinking about buying in Seattle right now, you might want to wait. Prices are going down, not up, and they'll probably keep falling for a while. If you own property in Seattle, especially in that vulnerable $1 million to $2 million range, you need to make a decision. Sell now before more inventory floods the market, or hold on and hope the market recovers. And if you work in tech anywhere, not just Seattle, pay attention. What's happening at Amazon could happen at your company next. AI isn't just coming for low-skill jobs. It's coming for corporate positions, management roles, the jobs we thought were safe. The world is changing faster than most people realize. The question isn't whether your job will be affected by AI. The question is when. Seattle's housing crisis is just the first domino to fall. The real question is, how many more will follow?